At the beginning of the movie, we see a child crying. Then a woman comes to him followed by another woman, and she eats that child. We then see a pregnant woman, Sarah, with her boyfriend Simon. At the restaurant, she sees an old woman staring at her, and then the waitress comes to take their order. After giving the order, she sees that the old woman has gone from there, but only then she sees that the woman is peering at her through the window, and she has a candle in her hand, which she blows out. Next, we see that old woman performing a ritual, in which she burns Sarah's photo and recites some mantras. And during this, we see a woman at Sarah's house, and Sarah wakes up from some sound. She sees the curtain moving and gets a bit scared, and only then she hears some sound from the bathroom. She then sees the bathroom door opening, and when she goes there to check, the old lady peeps from inside, and Sarah sees that Simon is on the bed and is screaming. But the next moment he is asleep on the bed. Then suddenly 2 hands hold her head and she sees the same old lady in a vision. But it turns out to be a nightmare. Now the next day Sarah discusses this with Simon, on which he says that she vomited because she is pregnant. But Sarah felt that the old lady had put an evil eye on her, because since then she is feeling sick and seeing things in her sleep. To cheer her up, Simon jokingly tells her that he will find that old lady and kill her and asks her to stop giving evil eyes to his girlfriend. We then see their married friends Melissa and Dustin, and here we learn that Melissa has an interest in the occult. Here on the way, Sarah's stomach hurts and she goes to a washroom, where a door opens automatically. Seeing this, she gets a little scared, and when she goes there to check, there is no one there, but suddenly the other doors also open with force. She checks there and finds the bathroom dirty, which makes her nauseous. And outside, she sees that in front of her in the woods the same old woman is watching her. Then Simon comes there from behind and tells her that he saw a coyote, and during this, that old lady disappears from there. We then see them at Melissa and Dustin's house, where Dustin tells them about Melissa that she has knowledge of the occult. Here Simon tells them that Sarah thinks an old lady is stalking her and scaring her. Hearing this, Melissa says that she has dealt with such things before and she can help her. We then see that they turn off all the lights in the house and Melissa performs a seance with the help of an Ouija board. Melissa asks everyone to hold hands and focus on the candle. Then she asks everyone to place their hands on the planchette and invites the spirit. But when she doesn't get a response, she asks Sarah to try. Sarah asks the spirit what she wants, and Dustin's hands begin to shake. He says that he can feel the spirit, but it turns out he is just joking. Seeing this, they all start laughing. But here we see someone behind Sarah. Now after wrapping up, Sarah says that she is going to sleep, but Simon says that he will be there in a while, and we see that Sarah is hearing some evil chants and she has become possessed. Simon is outside smoking when he notices a swing swinging, and when Melissa walks in, we see someone standing there in the dark. Then she notices that one of the 4 candles is completely burned out, and we see a shadow behind her. She comes over to Dustin to wake him up and tells him that Sarah's candle is completely out, and that she thinks something went really wrong. She says she's going to tell Sarah, but Dustin stops her and says they won't tell her until morning because she might freak out. Then Simon comes there and says he is going to sleep. Melissa tries to tell him, but Dustin stops her. Now when Simon walks in, he sees Sarah standing facing the door in a trance state. Melissa and Dustin also come there from behind, and Dustin says that she is sleepwalking. Simon says she has never done this before, and only then Sarah cracks her neck, which scares them all. Then when she regains consciousness, they ask her if she has any sleeping disorder, to which she says no. She then asks what happened, to which Simon tells that she had a bad dream and was sleepwalking. Now late at night, Simon sees a necklace hanging in the air, and when he looks at Sarah, it falls on him. He asks Sarah why she took off her necklace, to which she says that it was choking her. Then she starts laughing, and Simon thinks she might be talking in her sleep. Then she says that she is feeling her child kicking. Now Simon finds her words very strange and he takes his medicine in the washroom. But then Sarah comes there and her face starts changing, and she tries to attack Simon, in which one of her fingers is broken. Simon asks her what's wrong with her, and then he sees Sarah's finger there and Sarah asks him to open the door, but he says that he cannot do so. Then she starts banging on the door and now her voice changes. Then Simon hears the baby crying, and he sees a fetus in the bathtub and it gets dark there. Now when he lights his lighter, he finds himself in a strange place where he sees the same old lady, and Sarah says that he is in the dark now. Then he starts having some visions in which he sees some scenes from the past and the same old woman, and Sarah asks him to find her. He then sees Melissa in front of him and he asks her what is going on here. Just then Dustin comes there and says that Melissa is pregnant, after which he cuts her stomach and pulls the child out of it. And they ask Simon if he wants to hold it. Simon gets horrified to see this, and then he hears Sarah's voice, who is lying inside a circle made of candles. She tells Simon that he didn't protect her, and Simon sees that her stomach is also cut open, and suddenly she starts laughing out loud. Only then he sees someone sitting there on a chair with the fetus of their child in her hand, and it is the same old lady. Dustin and Melissa try to open the door and Simon sees the old lady eating his baby, and then Simon dies. The next day, the elderly woman seated in her home listens to a radio broadcast about Sarah, who has gone missing, and Simon's death. The police have attributed the event to a case of domestic violence. As the elderly woman listens to the radio, she consumes a soup containing Sarah and Simon's unborn fetus. Then someone turns off the radio and asks her how is the baby. She puts her hands on her shoulder and says that she will make her last breath her first, and death is the end for her. Next, we see a young woman named Masha getting intimate with a man she had just met. Outside we see her roommate Rachel, who is a local museum director. Here Masha starts behaving strangely and throttling the man, after which her face starts deteriorating, and the man punches her in the face. She calls Rachel for help and she comes inside, tells the man to leave. Then she asks Masha if she wants her to call the police, but she refuses. Later Masha tells Rachel that she learned all this from her grandmother. She is 93 years old but looks 60 years old. Rachel asks her what is her secret, to which she says baby's blood. But Rachel finds it a joke. After this we see Rachel talking to her mother and she tells her that Masha is a bit strange. Then suddenly the lights go off and Rachel tells her mother that she will call her later. Then she starts searching for Masha and she hears Masha humming, and suddenly she appears in front of her. Then they both start talking, and Rachel shares with her the story of her abusive relationship with her old fiancé. Then Masha says that her grandmother is dying, and she told her that her bed is full of cockroaches. But when she dies, she will gain all her powers. She reveals here that her grandmother is a witch, and when she dies, she too will become a witch. Now Rachel gets a little scared after hearing all this, but Masha says that she has always been good to her, so she has nothing to fear. Only then the candle kept to get extinguished and Masha shows Rachel her true form, after which some strange and scary scenes are shown in which we see some witches and past scenes, and in one of them Rachel's boyfriend Charlie is also there. The next day Masha goes to Rachel's office and tells the receptionist that she wants to meet Rachel, on which she tells her that Rachel has gone on lunch break. Masha says she wanted to talk to Rachel about last night, co-opting details Rachel had described of her own relationship, and presenting them as her own. Now later when Rachel comes back from office, she asks Masha why she is telling people her story about her ex and engagement ring, on which Masha says this happened to her and this is her story. Hearing all this, Rachel gets very angry with her and tells her that she is visiting her house for Christmas, and when she comes back, she does not want her here. Now that night we see Masha's sick grandmother at her home, who is hearing some demonic whispers. She then starts chanting some evil mantras and after screaming loudly, she dies, and Masha simultaneously becomes possessed. Masha then crashes a local Christmas house party, which Dustin and Melissa, still reeling from Simon's death, also happen to be attending. After some time Dustin goes to the washroom, where he finds Masha. The washroom was occupied so they both start waiting outside, but Dustin sees that Masha is behaving very strangely and starts abusing the girl who is in the washroom. Now when that girl comes out, Masha gets very angry and attacks her, then breaks her teeth. After this, she starts chanting evil mantras and Dustin hears all this from outside, and these are the same mantras that Sarah was chanting before disappearing. He tries to ask her about it but Sarah starts screaming for help, and then Melissa and their friend Paul stop Dustin and Paul asks him to leave. Now outside, Dustin tries to convince Melissa that he overheard the girl reciting the same spell Sarah was reciting, and that the girl could hurt someone. Melissa says that she believes in him but first they have to go home and research about it. But only then a car hits her and she dies. Now the next morning Rachel gets the news of Melissa's death, and here we come to know that Melissa was Rachel's friend. After that, she starts packing and Masha says that she wants to apologize to her. Rachel tells her that she has forgiven her, and then she leaves for her house. On the other hand, we see Rachel's mother Mary waiting for her, and Rachel's phone is also not reachable. Just then the doorbell rings and we see an old lady at the door. But when Mary opens the door, she gets confused seeing Masha there. She asks her about Rachel, to which Masha says that Rachel had left for here before her. She lies to her that Rachel invited her, because she didn't want her to spend Christmas alone. Mary invites her inside and Masha tells her that Rachel might be busy with Charlie. Mary finds her words strange and tries to call Rachel, and keeps a knife with her for her safety. When she comes out, Masha asks her to open the present that she had brought for her. Mary asks her where her daughter is, on which she asks her to open the present, where she finds a live rabbit inside, and Masha says that this rabbit is Rachel. Hearing this, Mary tells her to leave, but Masha breaks the rabbit's neck and throws it under the dining table, and when Mary looks under the dining table, she sees Rachel's dead body there. Mary hides in the garage in fear and asks her to leave, but Masha says that she is in the dark now, and Mary sees Masha's grandmother there, who forces Mary to stab herself to death. Just then the doorbell rings, and Charlie is at the door, and the possessed Masha attacks him. We then see Masha has restrained Charlie and she tells him that she was always jealous of Rachel and how he made her feel so special. Charlie is very scared of all this and he is not even able to say anything. Then she tells him that now he is her boyfriend, after which she is about to use her supernatural powers to get intimate with him. But then the doorbell rings again. Dustin is at the door and he punches Masha in the face, after which he douses her with gasoline and sets her on fire. Now Masha wakes up at her grandmother's house, badly burned, surrounded by other witches. She sees her grandmother's dead body on a chair and Masha requests those witches to take her to the hospital. But they all start laughing and say that hospitals are meant for common people. Masha says that she does not want to die, on which a witch starts reciting mantras. They start invoking the devil, and after a while, Masha sees the devil entering into the room, and she stands in front of Masha. The devil tells Masha that she will live, and orders all the witches to bow before their new queen. And the movie ends here. After credits, a raving Sarah, finally discovered by authorities, is interviewed by a detective and claims a witch ate her baby. She then screams, causing the lights to go off. Now when detective turns on her flashlight, Sarah says sorry and laughs hysterically, and then Masha's grandmother appears there. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon never to miss new video updates. Thanks for watching.